Ooh, welcome. Today is a story time thing because I feel the need to just vent. So first of all, like, we're in a heat wave, which is, I don't understand how we're having a heat wave in May. Climate change, I guess, but holy shit. Like, it is 34 degrees. For those of you who are like Celsius, Fahrenheit, it's like over 90. And that's not a thing that should be happening in May. It should be happening in like August or July. It shouldn't be happening in May. It is ridiculously hot. So I started off my day like being extremely hot and also waking up late, which is not something I wanted to be today. I actually had such anxiety about going to the SHINAGAWA Immigration Center that I stayed up until 2 a.m. the day before. like kind of panicking because I was just like, I gotta get the company profile from my company. I gotta get this. I gotta get the tax information. I gotta get this. I was just like, I was panicking the night before about getting everything done before I had to go off to the immigration center, and I just was like, not having a good time. And then I woke up and I was late and I was so frustrated. I was just like, oh, of course I'm late. So I wake up and I get all the paperwork kind of ready. So in order to like go to immigration, you gotta have your application, and then you gotta have the set list of documents for your visa type. For me, it's instructor. So I need to have like my application, I need to have my company profile, which is like a list of employees, the number of employees, maybe tax information, blurb about what the company is about, and then address, phone number, signature from president or company CEO or somebody, like something like that. And then also on my application, I have to make sure that my company's stuff is on there along with this like big Honko stamp that's like in the shape of a square, official sign, signature stuff from my company. And then also I need to have Nozai Shomesho. What's Nozai Shomesho, you ask? It's the tax document that shows that like I have paid my taxes from last year. So if you don't have this, or if you didn't pay your taxes from last year, there's a decent chance you will get your visa rejected. So number one priority actually for anybody who's curious is always your taxes. You should always pay the taxes in Japan. Your medical stuff, you can like, I went to go talk to the city people because I was like, I can't pay this much in medical, I need to decrease that. And they're like, okay, fine. So we have an arrangement right now where I'm paying a little bit less on my medical per month, and then I'm gonna get caught up later. But for right now, I'm just like, I moved and I had to like move quickly. So I was like, just take me down. I will increase later. So that's a short version of that. And then, what was the other thing? All right. And then you need to have so this tax document, you got to go to the city hall, you got to go get the tax document, and then I also got a jumesho, and that's like proof of where you live in the city. The reason I got that is because I moved, so my front address on my my Zairyu card, my Gaijin card, whatever you want to call it, it's like my residence card. On the front, it has a different address, and the back has a separate address. You don't necessarily need this. I did it just to be safe because I had moved before from Machida to Tokyo down to Kanagawa and Yokosuka in the same year, and they asked me like, why didn't I have one last time I did this? So when in the same year that I moved, so this time around I just brought it with me just to be safe. You don't necessarily need it, but I brought it anyway because SHINAGAWA Immigration Center gives me anxiety, and I will talk about it. So I got all those documents from city halls, different ones. I had to go down to Yokosuka to go get my my proof of city tax payments. Yes, the Nozai Shomesho. I actually got two of those. I got the general one and I got the breakdown one. There are two different versions. I believe the breakdown one is the better one, but I went ahead and got both just because I wanted to be sure that I got paperwork. So, yes, and there are other documents that are different for each visa type. So whatever I'm telling you to get may be different for you depending also on, are you first coming to Japan or are you rolling over from a different job? So whatever I'm saying, don't take this as the Bible. Like, go to immigration website and double check that you have your right documents. For me, it was application, running to my company after waking up late. I sent them an email and I was like, I'm coming over, I'm needing to get the company profile. See ya. Train delay. Oh, and my printer, of course, ran out of ink. So I was trying to make copies of things, like copy of my passport and tax forms and etc. It just decided to run out of ink, so I had to go run to a convenience store, go finish copies, go to my train, delayed. And then I had to get to the company and be like, hi, here I am. Sorry, I'm making you do this all at the last second. I'm sorry. I meant to email on Friday, but I had to make a test. I had to make a midterm test, so I had no time to email. I just was like, hi, I'm coming today. And I'm so sorry, my boss. So, did all that, got it, and then on the way to Shinagawa, on the way to immigration, on the way, get there, and Shinagawa Immigration Center is just, it's its own special sort of hell. I don't know how to describe it accurately. Like, the atmosphere of it is not so bad, but it's just like, oh, it's so many people, and it's so many people, and it's just, oh. And we're in the middle of a heat wave, so everybody smelled like the heat wave stank smell in the building. That's nobody's fault, really, but still, it was just another part of the experience of today. And I mean, I probably didn't smell that great either, but there you are. And then just going through the lines, the noise, and then like trying to getting to the first line where it's like checking your application, then you get a waiting ticket, then you go over to another line, and then you have to wait for hours, and then you get your application given over, and then you wait again. It's just a constant waiting game. And then on top of this, it's like it's just a whole lot of like trying to deal with staff people who don't want to deal with you. Like, it wouldn't be so bad maybe for me if I didn't feel as if the Shinagawa staff people didn't like their jobs and didn't like talking to people. Because, like, hoo boy. When I went to Mito Ibaraki, or when I went to Yokohama Immigration Center, it wasn't like that. I didn't feel like I was unwanted or hated when I went to Mito Immigration Center or Yokohama Immigration Center or even Sagami Ono Immigration Center, and I left them a bad review on Google. Like, it was just like, Sagami Ono Immigration Center was not a fun time. There was a guy who was kind of semi-racist towards a guy while I was in there. Didn't enjoy that. And also that, like, they were rude, but Shinagawa Immigration Center, it's like 90% of the staff don't want to be there. They consider you an irritant, and then they're yelling at people all the time. And it's just, I don't know. It's like, and it's not only me that has felt this way. One of the reasons my anxiety kind of like kicked up last night is because I went out with people and I talked about it, and then they were like, oh yeah, man, Shinagawa Immigration is like a shithole. And like, they agreed with me. And they're like, yeah, it's hell. It's the shithole. It's terrible. Like, everybody just nodding their head and agreeing. Nobody has a good story from like Immigration Center, from Shinagawa in particular, it feels like. That's not to say not all staff members of like the Shinagawa Immigration Center are bad. Today, there was a shining star in the darkness. There was a lady with like a red sweater today who was really nice, and she was really sweet, and she talked to this guy who didn't understand things in Chinese, and then also spoke to me in like some English, some Japanese, and I was just like, you're really nice. You're really sweet. And now you might be going like, oh, well, because they're not speaking to you in English, you think that they're mean. No. Here's the thing. Like, in Mito Ibaraki, there was like no English service when I was there. I've heard it's different now, but like when I went in there, nobody spoke to me in English. I spoke to them only in Japanese, and it was like super Keigo Japanese, but we worked it out, and I still spoke to them in Japanese. They spoke to me in Japanese, and we worked it. In Yokohama, I didn't use English except for, oh, there was this really nice little like information lady. She's like old little volunteer lady, and she was so nice. And she helped me at Yokohama Immigration Center, and she spoke to me in really good, fluent English. It was really amazing. But at Shinagawa Immigration Center, there's only one like employee who was just nice. Like everybody else, even if I'm speaking Japanese, they're like still terse and mean to me back. Like especially last year. Like last year it was just a lot of people who had like zero patience and zero effort to put into the job that day. Both times I went in there. So the first time you go in for immigration, I don't know if you know, but the first time you go in for immigration, you just bring in your application papers. They check your papers and your passport and your old visa. And then they take that packet away. You sit down with like your number again, and then you wait to hear back for your number. You go back and then to the counter, and they'll give you a stamp on your old the stamp on your own Zairyu card, on the back of your Zairyu card that says like it's in processing and this is the process number. They give you a ticket that's like a little piece of paper, and it says that like it's in the process, here's the number, and you keep that with your Zairyu card and your passport. It's easier that way actually, just to keep it all together for me. You don't have to keep your passport and your Zairyu card on you at all times, but I do anyway because I'm paranoid about stuff like that. So, but anyway, so we're supposed to keep that ticket with you, and then you go home and you wait between. For me, I'm not gonna have to wait that long. I'm only gonna have to wait probably between 3 weeks to 6 weeks, because all I'm doing is just changing my visa type, and it's easier. Like every year, it seems like it's less and less time to process, except for last year for some reason, probably because Shinagawa Immigration Center, probably. But this year, 3 to 6 weeks is probably going to be fine. But generally speaking, if you are first time coming here, it'll take longer, and the second time it'll take a long time, and then as it goes on, it usually gets shorter because like they're like, oh, we know you, and they just like give you your card. But for me, like, man, I don't know how to describe it. And then you have to go back the second time after you get this postcard in the mail, and you give the postcard and you get your visa, right? So last year I had to go 2 times. I had to go the first time for the application process, and there was this lady in like this gray business suit who was cruel and like rude to every single person she talked to. And it was astounding to watch how she obviously just did not care. She hated everybody and she wanted everybody to know it. And then I went back the second time with my postcard, and like most of the staff, once again, different section, but rude. But the gray suited lady was there, and she was heinously cruel to this child. And what I mean by child is like, okay, not a 5 or 6 year old, but a girl out of high school about to enter university, that kind of like age range, like young 20s or like late teens, probably over 18. But she was so confused. She was alone, she was by herself, and this lady is screaming at her and like, why don't you know Japanese? Why haven't you learned Japanese? Like all this stuff, like really cruel to her for no reason. She was going off at this girl about like, why don't you know Japanese? You're living in Japan. Why don't you know Japanese? And I'm like, lady. I went over and I helped her, and I was just like, I'm going to help you out because I don't know what her deal is, because this is a different section. This is not application paper section where I would expect somebody to maybe get like a little bit more testy, like if they forgot a paper. In this section, all the girl needs to do is give her a postcard, and then she gives her the visa after a waiting period. That's literally it. There are 3 steps to this process. Give the postcard, wait, get visa. That's it. I don't know why this woman decided that was a good time to lecture, just start lecturing this child about the errors of her ways. And I'm not gonna lie, the idea of like that lady being there when I went back today was just like, absolutely, no. So I don't remember what why she was yelling at her. I just remember I told her, like, you need to give her the postcard so she can give you your visa. Do you have your postcard? And she's like, yeah. And she, like, showed it to me, and I go, okay. So I gave the lady the postcard. I don't remember what I said, but I said something, and I also got testy back at her because, well, okay, no, I got bitchy. I got bitchy at her because I was like, she is young. You shouldn't be yelling at her when she's a child. Like, So, like, it was a whole thing. So then this year, I go in, there was one good employee, and then everybody else was just, like, done with the day. Didn't really have a lot of, like, effort to put into things. And it was really hard not to just scream at the top of my lungs in some instances, because it was just, like, so obvious that some people were treated badly because they were just gonna be treated badly. And it was... Ugh. And it's not even, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not even, like, I can say that it's not obvious. That's the thing. Like, it's not hidden. It's just so obvious that, like, the people at the Shinagawa Immigration Center just have no fucks left to give 90% of the time. There's a 10%, and, like, it's okay. But then there are the majority of the other people, and it's just, like, they don't care. And they're not willing to help you, and they're not willing to, like, talk to you in a way that you can be understood. Like, it's just, it was bad. And then on top of that, it's a heat wave. So, like, people are already exhausted and tired, and nobody I saw that I could see coming from, like, the customer or immigrant side, like, nobody was, like, being rude back. They were just being confused. Like, why aren't you, like, why? Like, well, your job is to try and, like, process papers, but also, like, you're seeing people, you gotta be able to be a little bit personable. Like, I get it's hot, but, like, you've been in AC all day. Like, what's going on? So, I don't know. I really hated today, and I really hope I get a 5-year visa, so I don't have to go back to Shinagawa Immigration Center ever again. Like, I'll have to go back with my postcard, but hopefully that'll be just, like, a simple transaction, and I don't have to do this again, because, like, oh man, I just hate it. Oh, and it's also, like, there's kind of a little bit of racism at play. Like, there is a little bit of, like, when it comes to Southeast Asian people, and especially Chinese, Filipino people, they are treated way worse than I was, or way worse than I am, like, today. Like, there was a Filipino family with a husband and wife and 2 kids, and, like, the 2 kids were fine. Like, they weren't being bad at all. They were just standing there being bored, and the mom was confused, and the dad's trying to, like, talk to the clerk lady in Japanese, and she's talking back in Japanese really fast, like, not in a slow pace at all, and she just will not listen to, like, when the dad is trying to say, I'm sorry, but I have the photos. He said he had the photos. He said he had the application. He said he had all this stuff for everybody. And I'm like, I don't understand what she wants either. I'm, like, trying to listen so that maybe I can help, but she's speaking so fast, like, kind of rudely fast. And she's being really mean to this family. And a different checker comes over and, like, helps out. Like, basically kind of takes over the other checker lady's job, because all the checker lady's doing is just, like, she's just talking and repeating herself quickly over and over and over and over and over again. And I can't even copy it, like, in Japanese, because it was so fast. I couldn't catch it at all. And I have been in here 8 years. Like, I should be able to catch it, but I couldn't. And then the other checker came over and said something and, like, went through the papers, and then finally, like, it all got together. But like, there is a very obvious distinctive difference between, like, how certain people are taken care of versus how other people are taken care of. Like, white people are taken care of differently than other people. But here's the thing, like, like, nobody's treated super well. Like, I get that it's got to be a hard job, and it's got to be a little bit stressful, because it is, like, paperwork, and there are foreigners, and maybe you don't speak English, and maybe you don't speak any other foreign languages, but still, like, it's your job, and it's still, like, something, like, I don't understand how this place is so absolutely no fucks left to give kind of place. Maybe it's kind of like the same idea as like New York. Like New York is a huge big place and it's just like different rules, different system. But man, it's just it is a whole thing, and it makes me like not want to go. Like the bureaucracy of it's already like kind of a headache, but then having to go to a place where you're obviously unwanted and obviously like kind of hated to go there, it was, I don't like it. There are many things to love about Japan. Many, many, many things. Like, it's safe here. There's it's like, I want to stay here because I love my job. I love my friends that I got here. There's family, but at the same time, Shinagawa Immigration Center is just like the place you're supposed to go to like get help to stay in the country, but it feels like nobody wants to help you, and it feels like they don't want you to be there, and it feels like they hate your existence. And so it's just, it's not good. And here's the thing too, okay. Alright. Here's my thing. I don't understand why there's an immigration center in the first place. Like, I feel as if many of these paper things, like, you should be able to just do it online. Or you should be able to somehow speed up the process by your My Number card, or your Zydu card, or City Hall, or some other way. Because it's 2018, or 2019, sorry, it's freaking Reiwa now. There's a whole other, there's a new emperor on the throne and everything. And yet, this outdated system of, like, paperwork only, you have to go in person, you have to do everything. It's so outdated, and there could be less stress. Like, you shouldn't have to absolutely go down to immigration center for 2 times to take off work for 2 days if you're not like me. I'm lucky this year. I have a Tuesday through like Saturday schedule, so I can go on Mondays and I can go do stuff like this. But let's say I didn't. Let's say that, I had to take off work to go do this. It would suck. I didn't have to do that last year either. I got lucky. There was a break in between my training and then starting work. And so I was able to go run to Shinagawa Immigration Center and go get it done. But whoo boy, like, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't have to be this stressful. And there doesn't, there should be ways to, like, figure out ways so, like, we can avoid this stress, I feel like. But unfortunately, like, Japan and the Japanese government, they are always putting all the money right now into the Olympics. They're putting all of their resource and energy into the Olympics, which I kind of don't think is going to work out and pan out in the way that they think it will. For a variety of reasons. That could be a whole other video in and of itself. I'm not going to get into it. But basically, like, immigration needs an overhaul and a lot of different facets. And it's just not getting it. According to the news, there's supposed to be a way where, like, your employers can just, like, put up the information to the immigration website for you. But I'm going to go ahead and admit that, like, I don't think any job would know how to do it right now. I don't think my job knows about it. I think that, like, 99% of companies will have no idea of how to do it. And relying on the employers to do it is probably not the best way to go about it. Like, you should be able to get all the information and paperwork and then be able to send it in. Not just, like, have to go in person, have to do it that way. I feel like there are ways you can verify that the person is real. They do anyway. They call up your company and they ask if you really did, like, apply. So I don't understand why, if you've already gonna check on things, why does somebody have to go in person? And also, the rules don't apply if you have an agent doing it for you. Jet Program had to do it for me. They had to have they had to have, like, my passport copies and everything, and they had to do it for me. So it's, I don't know. It's a whole thing. I feel like there should be ways to make it less stressful. And I feel like there could be ways to like make it so not everybody is the way that it is at Shinagawa Immigration Center. Basically, I just want ways to avoid going back. I really hope I get a 5-year visa. I really hope I get a 5-year visa, because then if I do, then it's like 5 years of not having to worry about it. Although in 2 years I might consider doing the permanent residency route. If I get enough Japanese skills, and if I play my cards right, and I don't know, I get it done, that'll be cool. If I get permanent residency, I'd be really happy. I'd be really, really happy. I'd be able to just get it, and then I could do whatever I wanted. I'm probably going to just stay at the job I am forever, but if I don't do that, if something happens, then having permanent residency would be great, because that means that I can do a lot of different kinds of jobs. I don't absolutely have to do anything. Like, I don't have to be an instructor, or I don't have to do only humanities, or I don't have to do research, or the other types. Permanent residency means, like, all doors access are kind of open so that you can do things you want to do. So that would be kind of cool. Just to have the opportunity to, like, do some other stuff would be nice, rather than just constantly having to stay in the, like, the visa type and having to double check that, like, you know, oh, okay, am I humanities, or am I an instructor, or what? Like, it would just be great. This turned into a really long video, and I think I'm not even going to edit it. I think I'm just going to put it up, and it's going to be long. People are going to be like, why? Why'd you do this? And I'm going to be like, I was tired, and I haven't uploaded in a while, so that's something I need to do. Actually, there's going to be videos coming out semi-soon that are about Pride. I didn't have any time to like sit down and like record in a while, but this week I'll have time. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to edit videos, I'm going to put out videos, they're going to be videos, it's going to be great. Yeah. Alright. God, this is going to be long. I'm not editing it. I'm not doing it. Today is a lazy day. It's not lazy at all, actually. I'm just exhausted. So I'm not editing it, putting it up. Should have just done it live. Whatever. Alright. Bye.